Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video is going to be a book haul. I'm going to be showing you all the books that I got for Christmas. Some of them were new, some of them were secondhand, but I'm really excited about all of them, so let's just get right into it. The first one is one that I already knew that I was getting, but that is Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. I am so excited for this. If you don't know, I kind of put my writing on pause for the month of December because first of all, just burnout and so many things on my plate, and honestly, I just needed a little bit of a break, but I was going to get back into it after about a week, and I realized that because what I really need to do is completely revamp my outline, and I knew I was going to be getting this book soon anyways, so I figured I'm just going to read this first, and then see what I learned from it, and then I can incorporate that into my new outline. So that's what I'm going to be doing probably early January, but I am so excited to get to this. Next, I got Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 3 of the Stormlight Archive. I got books 1 and 2 last year for Christmas, and I didn't read them yet. I just didn't get around to them. There was just way too many books last year that I really wanted to read. But now I have the third one, and I am very excited to get to it eventually. I'm not reading the synopsis or anything because it's the third book, so I don't want to spoil the first two. But I just know that I'm probably going to love it because I've so far loved everything else by Brandon Sanderson, so I'm real excited for it. The next two books I got at a local secondhand shop. The first one is Room by Emma Donoghue. I saw this movie probably around the time it came out, and it was just so beautifully heartbreaking. Stories like this are obviously really hard to read. If you don't know, it's about a woman who was kidnapped when she was 19 and is held captive by a man. You can put 2 and 2 together, but she now has a son, and she's locked in this little 11-foot by 11-foot room, and she's trying to give her son the most normal life she can, given their circumstances and the fact that they're prisoners. And it's just really... I hate describing books like this because I don't want to say it's interesting, because every word just feels too light, but it's just one of those things that's really fascinating and hard to read in the best way, if that makes sense. But I watched the movie, absolutely loved it, and I've heard a lot of good things about the book, so I'm looking forward to giving it a try. Next time I'm in a I wanna hate the world kind of mood, apparently, but I really think this is going to be just fascinating in a really dark way. And then the next book I got from the same shop is Still Alice by Lisa Genova. This book, also, I watched the movie when it came out, really loved it, really heartbreaking. Apparently this secondhand store has a theme. This is the story about a woman who is just a really successful businesswoman. She has a very successful husband, 2 grown children, she's a professor at Harvard, and then she's diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, and it's essentially just her coming to terms with that. And I absolutely loved the movie. It was so, again, hard to watch in the best way possible, and I think the book is going to be an extra layer on top of that because there's so much more in it. So I'm really curious about this book. I find Alzheimer's really scary and anything like that because if you don't know, long story short, I had a really bad reaction to a medication and I spent a year with absolutely no memories. I couldn't tell you what I was doing. I forgot where I lived. Like, it got really, really bad at times. And obviously, I never thought that Alzheimer's wasn't scary. But, I don't know, after living with, like, severe, debilitating memory loss, it just gave me so much more insight to cases like this. And not that what I went through was exactly similar to this, but it's just enough that I have all of those personal feelings and fears now that just make these stories so much more impactful for me. And yeah, next time I'm really in the mood to cry, I think I'm going to pick up this story because I have a feeling I'm going to cry. The next book I'm probably going to pronounce wrong, but that is Warrior of the Altai by Robert Jordan. If you don't know, Wheel of Time is one of my all-time favorite book series. I love it so, so much. That's actually how I got introduced to Brandon Sanderson, because if you're unfamiliar, Robert Jordan is the original author of the Wheel of Time series, but unfortunately, due to his health and his age, he knew he wasn't going to be able to complete the series because it's about 1 million books long. So what he did is he actually, hi Comet, wrote out super, super detailed notes of essentially how he wanted everything to end and all the loose ends he wanted to tie up and all the other plot points and stuff. And he handpicked an author to finish the series for him. And that author was Brandon Sanderson, and that is actually how I was introduced to Brandon Sanderson, because I just thought he did such a great job at finishing off Robert Jordan's series for him, and just the talent that it takes to jump into someone else's project and essentially seamlessly finish it off. And I got a lot of respect for him as an author from that, and it made me look into his other works, and Brandon friggin' Sanderson. I love the guy. So anyways, this is Robert Jordan's very first book that he wrote, which was originally unpublished and was published after his death. I don't really know that much about it. Essentially, all I know about it is it's a high fantasy world, the world is coming to an end, and there's a warrior that has to save them somehow. Very typical fantasy stuff, but like I said, I love the Wheel of Time, and I'm really curious. This is a really short book, and the only book I have read from Robert Jordan is a 14 book series where each book is about 1,000 pages, so I don't know how we're gonna have this short of a story, and I'm really curious to see how it goes. Next book I got is A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. I think this is gonna be so interesting. I really like when very fantasy heavy books are written like nonfiction, if that makes sense. So this book is essentially a memoir by Lady Trent. It's a novel, but it's written from the perspective of a person who is writing as if she was writing the history, and it's like her memoir, and she's the one that discovered dragons, and it's just really, really interesting, and I think that writing style is going to be really cool to see. I just think that reading this fantasy novel through the lens of a scientific memoir type thing, I think it's just going to be really interesting, and I don't think I've really read anything like that before. So I actually saw this at another thrift store in town, and it was $1.25. And I went up to my mother, and my mom loves dragons, but she's not much of a reader. So I went up to her and I was like, okay, either I can buy this for you for Christmas and you have to let me borrow it, or you can buy it for me for Christmas and I'll let you borrow it. So she decided that she would buy it for me for Christmas and she's gonna borrow it after I'm done, but I just think it's gonna be really fun to read. The next book I got, I know almost nothing about, and that's how I like it. That is A Starless See by Erin Morgenstern. All I know about the plot is there's some sort of labyrinth and a bunch of doors. But more importantly, all I need to know is that it's written by Erin Morgenstern, and I loved The Night Circus so much, and I am just really eager to read this and just compare the writing style, and I don't know, I fell in love with The Night Circus and with her writing style and with how immersive it was, so I'm really curious to see if she can do it again. The main reason I didn't really look up the synopsis for this book is because something that I loved about The Night Circus was going in and figuring out the plot along with the characters, because it was just one of those things that reading it that way really helped the experience. So I think I want to do a very similar thing for this story. I'm not going to look up what it's about. I'm just going to start reading it and see where the adventure goes. So I don't have that much to say about it, but all I know is I'm excited to read it. And last but definitely not least, I got the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I have A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and A Conjuring of Light. I borrowed the first one on audiobook from my library and absolutely loved it, but I knew that it was a series that I would enjoy even more if I physically read it. So my dad and I were book shopping, and I saw this and decided I would love to own all of them because, like I said, I loved the first one, and if I want to read the second and the third one physically anyways, I think this is just a great chance to have it. And I love box sets because I'm the kind of person that gets really bothered when my series don't all match. If I'm gonna own the whole series, I want the covers to match. So he offered to buy this for me for Christmas, and obviously I wasn't gonna say no to that. I'm obviously not going to talk about the synopsis for books 2 and 3 because they're books 2 and 3, but essentially their world has alternate dimensions, and certain types of magicians can go between the different worlds, and there's magic, and it's really cool, and I'm just excited for it. It also has one of my favorite buddy ships. Their bromance is just top tier. I really loved this book though, and I'm really excited to see where the rest of the series goes. There's a couple things that I think were set up in the first book that I'm really excited to see how they play out. There's a couple things that I'm pretty sure are going to happen, but not in a way that it's predictable and annoying, just in a way that they said something and I think I know what it's planting the seed for, and I'm just really excited to see how it all turns out. So I am so excited to get to these books. So there we go. Those were the 10 books that I got for Christmas. Now the only problem is going to be figuring out what order to read them in, because I already had books I was excited about reading, and now I have more books I'm excited to read, and the hardest thing with books is that you can't read 10 million of them all at the same time. Like, I have to pick, and that's hard. If you guys have read any of these books and have any ideas of which ones I should start with or anything like that, definitely let me know down in the comments, because I know I'm gonna have a really hard time deciding, so I'll take whatever help I can get. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button to let me know, and subscribe to stay up to date with my reading and see what order I end up reading these in, and also my writing, my cats, whatever else I post videos on. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye!